Anyway,
This probably is not going to the hospital, so I'm just waiting for
okay,
them to
Baruch
get
Hashem.
it. Oh,
Baruch
sure.
Hashem.
So no billing.
Okay, Simon Kufayin Gimel, Hilchus Orla, Sif Beis. So Pashana Revi is in the 4th year, Nikru Aperis Neta Revai. The fruit is called Neta Revai. Right, meaning you have 3 years of Orla. 4th year, you're allowed to eat the fruit, but it has to be eaten in Yerushalayim. Same thing as Meiser Shein. You're Trichen Pidyon, and you have to be paid. Meaning, we don't, obviously, unfortunately, we don't have that whole side of going to Yerushalayim. So, but it needs a pigeon. Meaning, how do you do it? Ketzad paidin. So, how do you paid it? Tolshan la'achar shenimur kol tzarchan. You detach them from the ground. V'noitel matbeya kesef, and then you take a coin, a perish shel heter, or fruit that's mutter, meaning regular fruit. Shavis pruta, that they're worth at least a pruta. V'aymer bezeh ani paida perish neter ravai elu. With this, I'm being paida this neter ravai. V'noitel matbeya a perish, and then he takes the coin and the fruit. V'shaychakon, and then he grinds them up. V'zarkon banar, and then he throws them into a river. Right? Meaning in the times of the base of Mikdash, you would just take all this up to Yerushalayim and eat it there. So we don't have that now, so you have to just be paid and you throw it into the river or to the water. In Chutzarts, you don't make a bracha on being paid and net the Ravai. Okay, Gimel. Doesn't make a difference whether you planted a seed or a branch. Or you even uprooted a tree when you replanted it, somebody says chayav and ba'arla, you are chayav and arla. Right? But that's if you consciously did it. Let's say it was done like from the weather, like a flood, and then it got transplanted further down the stream. So the Gemara says that as long as there was enough dirt attached to the tree that it could grow by itself that way, or it could stay alive, then that's not considered a new planting. But let's say you graft one branch onto another tree, and if you do it with layers, what you do is you make a hole in the ground, and then you take the lower branch of a tree, and you bury the middle part in the ground, and then the head goes out the other side. Meaning, basically, take a long branch, you stick it into the ground, and then you pull it out of the ground, let's say a foot or two past that. You're trying to grow separate trees. Even though you cut it off from the main part of the tree, that in Chutz La'aretz it doesn't have a din of arla. Right? But in Eretz Yisrael, then we do consider it arla. Okay, Dalit, Elon sheniktzah, it's a tree that got cut down. Im nishar goyva me'aretz tefach. If there's a stump left that's a tefach high, that's considered like the original tree is still there, and what grows after that does not require arla. But if it does not left over a tefach, then it's chayiv and arla. And you count the years from when it was cut down. Meaning, the new year count starts right when you cut down the tree, even though l'chayra it hasn't started growing yet. And let's say you have a tree that was uprooted, and there are some roots still attached. Even if it's only the thickness of a needle, a needle that you use to pull clothing, after it's woven, then you know that that's enough for it to live. Suffer without other dirt. That's even if you add on a lot of dirt. Okay, so this is you're getting into, I don't know if botany is, it's not botany. Maybe it is botany. Into farming, so not easy to understand. Okay, Siman Kufayin Dalit Hilchos Klai Elon. Ubay Gimel Sifim. So Klai Elon means the Klayim of trees, that you're not allowed to crossbreed trees. So klai, there's different. There's klai Zroim, there's klai Akarim, there's klai Elon, there's klai Behema, there's kalim of, there's klayim of shot is what we're used to, right? It's crossbreeding anything. So klai Lonois, klayim of trees areim bechlal mashanemar. It's included in Sadcha le'sizur klayim. Do not plant your field with klayim. Alkain also laharkev min b'sheinim. Therefore, it is also to graft one type of tree onto another type of tree. Going on a shal tapuach be'esrog, to take a branch of a apple tree and put it onto an esrog tree, or esrog b'tapuach, or an esrog onto a tapuach. Fafilu mina madayim zelazah, and even types that are similar to each other. Tapuach, like a regular apple, tapuach yari, with a wild apple. Right? Ukayotze, kivan shem shnei, meaning as long as they're two different types, asur and zavazeh, they're also to each other. So you have all sorts of shilas. There's a grapefruit, the same thing as an orange, and these are all shilas that the place can discuss. You're not allowed to even to have a guy do it for you. Like we said yesterday or the day before, there's Amir La'akam on all Isurim in the Torah, not just Shabbos. So if you're not allowed to plant Klayim, neither can your worker. Beis, also L'kayim Amurkav Klayim. You're not allowed to hold on to it. Meaning, if you made a mistake or you bought a property and it has a grafted tree, you got to get rid of it. But any fruit that grew from it, that's mutter. Meaning you got to get rid of the tree, but whatever grew in the meantime is mutter. And once the initial grafting was done, you're allowed to take a tree, a branch from that, plant it someplace else.
There, Klaus, only the planting. That's also the chil is not a problem.
Correct. Yeah.
It's not a problem. Buying is never a problem.
Buying is never a problem. Correct. Now, where it gets into an issue is when you want to make a shechiyonu by Tu B'Shvat on a grafted fruit.
It's above Avera.
So someone say, even though it was no Avera, because you didn't do it, but it's not something that you should do. Meaning it's not something that Be'etzem Hashem wants. Now they say the next generation, second generation, third generation, I'm not talking about Apple products, second generation, third generation, right? That already you can even make a shechiyonu on. Right? So, yeah. There's a lot of misunderstanding with climate. What?
They have grafted apples.
What are you saying? I don't.
It's Apple products, yes.
Oh, Apple pie, very good. I didn't even. Yeah. I think there's like 600 different types of apples or something. I don't know. Anyways, there's a lot of misunderstanding with this because Lamais, if it was already grafted, it's fine. And then the next one is really Klaya Kerem Uklai Zroyim. Klaya Kerem, which is grapes with anything else. And Klai Zroyim, Einam Asurim B'chutzlarts. They're not also in Chutzlarts. Elim Kein Zara Beis Mine Tvua. Except when you mamish, like plant two seeds together. Hay Beis Mine York, or two types of vegetables. Im Zera HaKerem B'yachad, with the Zera of the vineyard. Right? So Klai, basically what the kids are saying is Klai Zroim does not apply outside of Chutzlarts. Only Klai Kerem. And that's the Rabbanon. So I get this question fairly often. People are, planting gardens, and they want to know how far apart their vegetables are. You ask them, you live in Chutz La'aretz? Yes. There's no issue. They're like, what? Yeah, it's the only thing that's negay in Chutz La'aretz with Klayim, at least fruits and vegetable wise, is Klaya Kerem. So if you had a vineyard in Chutz La'aretz, then midrabanan you'd have an issue with how close your wheat would have to be. Okay. Kuf sim kufayin hey hilchos klaya behema. So also laharkiv zachar il al nekeva beis minam. You are not allowed to crossbreed or mate a male from one type of animal with two females, with a female, from two different types. Bein behemoths, bein bechayes, bein beoifus. Makes no difference what type of animal. Vafilu ligram sheyarkivu aser. Even to cause this to happen is also meaning, don't take a mule and a horse and put them together in a room. Right? That's also awesome. Beis also last malacha beis minim. Not only that, you're not allowed to do malacha. Going lachresh to plow, eshiyimshich vasakaran, or to pull the wagon. Vafilu lanhigam bekol b'lvad. Even if you want to just make the animals walk with your voice, shutzayak aleim. Let's say you scream at them. Aser imheim kshurim yachad. If they're tied together, then they can't walk. That's called klai behema. Now it's interesting, from this psak, the Poskim want to say that, are you sticking with the Apple theme? Is that, are you allowed to talk to Siri or whatever the other, Alexa on Shabbos? Because what are you doing? You're just talking. Are you doing an Isser? So bring a raya from here that we say that you're over on the Isser of Klai Behema if you make it talk, if you make it walk. Right? Even with your voice. So that's where they want to use a proof from that. A gala of a guy, a wagon of a guy, that, and he's not keeping the halacha, so he has two different animals pulling it. But on the wagon is the load that belongs to the yid. Also, the Yisrael then the Yisrael is also for him to walk near the wagon. Because we're afraid that he's going to scream at them to go fast. And that's also because he's leading it with klayim. Right now, why is he allowed? Why doesn't he have to take it off if a guy's being over the Isser? It must be right. So it must be that the guy's doing it on his own, and it's not the Yid didn't ask him. Gimel agolish climb a wagon that climb is pulling it. Also leisheba, you can't sit in it. Afilu eina manig, even if you're not the one driving it, because you're getting benefit from klayim. There's actually an interesting psak, I forgot who says it, that in China and Japan, in the old days, they used to have a human pulling the wagons with an animal. So is that klayim? Is klayim only two different animals, or is it an animal and is an animal and a human also? So the Poskim would say, no, there's no klayim with an animal and a human. So if you wanted to help out something, an ox, pull a wagon, the human would be allowed to do that. Okay, that is all for tonight. And everybody should have a fine night.